Hey there everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This week we are going to be kicking off another weekly reading vlog, and I am so excited about it because I'm actually going to be reading some new releases and some advanced reader copies I received. Honestly, I've been struggling with posting a bit and recording everything because I feel like I've just had a lot going on and I just haven't been able to maintain like a weekly setup. So I tried to do a reading vlog where it was just updating a vlog when I was finishing my books, and that did not work out at all. So now I'm just going to challenge myself to go ahead and just record daily, and you all will just get to come along in my life. And for you all who have not been here before, I am a typical 9-to-5 girly. I have my real job, and then on the side I like to read books and make content. And then I'm also in a graduate program. I am in my 4th semester out of 6, and it just starts this week, the 4th semester, and it is stressing me out. It seems really intense, and I get like this before every single semester, so I just needed to get into it. And I said 4th out of 6, I definitely meant 5th out of 6. I only have 2 more, so I just need to do it. So you all are going to come along to see how I fit in grad school and reading in the course of everyday life while I'm just trying to stay afloat. With that, let's talk about the TBR for this video. So first, I am currently 10% into A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Catherall. This is a fantasy story, and I believe it is told solely through letters. Like, the plot, it's just a bunch of correspondences, and somehow it's going to give us an overall picture of a potential disappearance or loss of siblings. And then the siblings of the siblings are going to try and look for them and try to figure out what happened. So I'm about 10% in. Honestly, it's a little slow at the beginning. The writing is more old-fashioned-y, and so it's still fun, but it just hasn't really gripped me yet. So I'm hoping that will happen soon. Next, I am on chapter 10 of Murder Road by Simone St. James. This is my audiobook for the week, and I'm already loving this so much. This is my second Simone St. James book, and I love her audiobooks because they go by so quickly, and also we just get to see a little bit more of how creeped out people are because she has this really fun paranormal element to her thrillers that really intrigues me and keeps me guessing. And then there are 3 potential books that I would like to pick up after I finish A Letter to the Luminous Deep. And the first one is going to be That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. This is the first book in the Meet and Mishap series and looks so fun. Like, just a good palette cleanser. It's under 200 pages, so it shouldn't take me any time to get through. And after the 400 pages of letters that is A Letter to the Luminous Deep, I think that I'm going to need something like this. Second, I have another library book, which is Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek, I think. And this was a Barnes & Noble YA monthly pick, and it looks pretty good. I've seen good ratings on it, and so I want to try this one out too. And then the third potential book, sorry, this is a lot for the intro, but I genuinely have no idea what I want to read. So the third book is Colton Gentry's Third Act by Jeff Zentner. And this comes out, I think, on April 30th. And Grand Central Publishing sent me over a final copy. And so I want to read this too. This is more romance, where the others were a bit more fantasy heavy. So we'll see which one I want to pick up. But that is the plan for the vlog. As normal, after work we are just doing grad school and reading, except for book club night, and we actually have a wedding this weekend, so I'm really looking forward to that. And this will be our first wedding as a married couple, so how special. And now that I have done the world's longest intro, I will go ahead and jump into the rest of the vlog, so I'll see you all soon. Hey there everyone, and happy Tuesday evening. It is getting a tad bit late. It's 7:30, I say as the grandma that I am, but I wanted to give you all a quick reading update. So first and foremost, we are now about 25% into A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Catherall, and I have a few thoughts. First and foremost, let me tell you all what this book is about. So in the year 1002, our main female-ish character, I guess not really main, but the focus of the story is on E, and she is in the place called Deep House, which is basically a house underwater. E has been staying there for most of her life and feels like she's the guardian of it, and so we get to see more of her character through the letters that she has with her different, whether it's friends or scholarly interest or sisters. So we get to see her connect with those individuals, but mostly we want to see her focusing on her communications with Henry, who is a scholar in one of the colleges, and he's very prestigious for his works on underwater creatures. So she spotted an underwater creature that she didn't really know what it was, and so she wrote to him and was really nervous about it because he's a big bad scholar, but he was extremely nice and excited to talk to E, and so they strike up a communication, and that's in the year 1002, and in the year 1003 we see E's sister and Henry's brother start to have communications through letters. This entire story is through letters, but we discover that they have lost both E and Henry. We're not really sure how, like if they're lost or they're dead. I'm not really sure what the deal is there, but they are trying to create a timeline up to the point of their disappearance / death. So we are watching these two kind of interact back and forth and also pull in different letters from their respective siblings and the correspondences that they had to other individuals in their life as well. Okay, so now that the ground is set, I am really struggling. First, I thought that this was going to be more murder mystery-esque. I thought that there was going to be a bit more of a whodunit, but what's actually happening here is that we have one, really lyrical prose, so I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I don't mind that at all, but the formulation of the letters to get to their disappearance is just taking a really long time. Like, we are moving at a snail's pace, people. It's really tough, honestly, to get through. I like it enough, but the plot just isn't progressing quickly at all. I feel like it's definitely cozy because not too much is going on. We are just seeing the correspondences and it's great, but I've never read a book that was just letters either, and I think that letters typically elevate a story, but to have them be the sole medium for an entire over 400-page book is a lot. So with that, I am 25% on the way in, so around page 100. So I'm hoping that one, I'm going to walk and read a little bit more tonight, and I'm gonna make myself read it, but I mean, it's fine. It's just, it's fine. I hope that it turns around and I hope it really picks up, but I mean, gosh, I mean, 100 pages in and it hasn't picked up yet. Like, come on, let's pick up the pace. But my other book in my book of the month order actually just came in, so let's talk about those books. So my April pick from book of the month was How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong, and I am so excited about this one. I have seen so many good first reviews on this, and I think what is happening here is we have our main female character, Helen, who is a YA author and has just gotten a TV deal for one of her series, and she is going to California to produce this, where she meets somebody that she wishes she could forget but hasn't, and he is going to be one of the screenwrites for her show. But something happened where there was a tragic accident that binded these two together. So now they are kind of coming back together, and they're not supposed to be together, but I think they're going to end up being together. And I think there's going to be some really great mental health representation in here as well. And it's about a book to show adaptation. So I think it's going to be so much fun. So I'm really, really excited about this one. And then the second book that I got is my second current read, which is my audiobook, and that is Murder Road by Simone St. James. I was really excited to get this because I'm listening to it through Spotify, so that doesn't really give you a percentage of where you're at in your audiobook, but I have learned that I'm at page 156, and oh my gosh, this book is so good. I was driving home today and was creeped out. Oh my gosh. I was sitting in my car like, do I need to stop the car because I was not driving safely? I could not react. I was freaked out. Yes, so I don't think that I've described this book either, which I really should just do that in the beginning. But this is about a newlywed couple, and they are going to their honeymoon when they make a wrong turn and end up picking up a hitchhiker who has been stabbed, but they don't know that, so they drive them to the nearest hospital and end up the primary suspects in a murder case. What they realize is that there are many cases like this along this road that they picked up this girl from, and they kind of fall into it with the police, and they are trying to pin more of the murders on this couple. But what we soon discover is there is a lot of paranormal activity in this book as well. This is a haunted road due to the amount of circumstances that have gone on here, and we get this really fun ghostly element to it. And yeah, I just had my first big encounter and messed me up, but so good, like so well done. So I'm loving it. I hope that you all can tell, and I can't wait to keep listening to it. And those are my updates for today. I am going to walk and read, and I actually might pick up before bedtime so that I'm not just reading letters all day. That time I got drunk and saved a demon just to have a physical book. I hate when I can't actually hold a book. So I think I might do that. I don't know. We'll see where I'm at in about an hour, but I will check back in with you all soon. Hey there everyone, and happy Wednesday. It is after work now, and I am actually about to get changed and go for a light run just to get some more movement in before it is time to go to book club tonight. For book club this week, we actually read The Teacher by Frida McFadden, and I gave it 3 stars. It was just fine. It was a pretty big letdown for me, honestly, but that's okay. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the girls thought about it and what we're going to read next. I haven't made it super far since my last update on the books that I read, but I actually just got sent a book by Hachette Book Group and Orbit Books, so I wanted to show you all A Flame in the North by Lilith St. Crow. So this is a Norse-inspired epic fantasy of ancient myth and magical destiny. The Black Land is a myth. Centuries have passed since the great enemy was slain, yet old fears linger, and on the longest night of the year, people in the south still light ritual bonfires to banish the dark. In her village, this duty falls to Solveig, a girl favored by the gods with powerful fire magic. But when her brother kills a northern lord's son during the ritual, it is Sol who faces punishment by being Wergild, part hostage, part guest, in the north for a year and a day. As she journeys to her captivity, Sol starts to realize that the Black Land is no myth. The forest teems with foul beasts, her travel companions are not what they seem, and their plans for her magic are shrouded in secrecy. With only her shield maiden and her own wits to rely upon, Sol must learn to master her powers and wrest control of her fate, for the Black Land's army stirs, ready to cover the world in darkness, unless Sol can find the courage to stop it. So it sounds super interesting. I love the cover, and it's the first book in a maybe duology, but it's the first book because on the side we have that really nice one. And so we get to see that happen. This came out in February, and the next book comes out in June, which is a super quick turnaround. But I am excited for it. It's about 400 pages, and the flop on this thing is amazing. So really excited about that and super thankful for Hachette and Orbit for sending it over. So let's stop procrastinating and go for a run, shall we? Hey there everyone, and happy Thursday. We are finally making it through the week and almost at the weekend. Unfortunately, tonight is looking pretty bleary. We are going to try to do the lab assignment that is due this week, so I am going to try and do that a bit and hope that it all works out. Typically when I first start my lab assignments, I get through like 3 of the steps and then I have a question. So I want to make sure to start this early so that if I have questions, I have plenty of time to get into my professor, for him to respond, and then for me to try it again. I love grad school. But in terms of reading updates, honestly, I don't think I have really anything else from A Letter to the Luminous Deep because I just have not been wanting to pick it up. I don't think I read anything last night because we got home late from book club, but I think I ended around page well, it's not pages, it's a percentage, so it's more like 36%, and it's really tough. I think that it would be fun to read if I was just reading it casually, like not trying to get through it. If I was one of the people that could read a book for a month, that this would be a good book. But since I want to be intrigued and really pulled into the story, I find it a bit more difficult because the plot is just so slow. It's just so slow. But I'm still hoping that it'll turn around. On the other hand, my girl Simone St. James, my Murder Road copy has come in from Book of the Month, and I am able to see that I am currently on page 230, and I'm loving it. I feel like even still in this book, we are getting new information about the characters in it because they are prime suspects in a murder case. And so the police just keep coming back with more information that they've dug up. And so we're learning it in real time as well. So we have to process it while we watch the characters process that information because they didn't necessarily know that about one another, even though they're married. So it's a bit messy, and the ghostliness, there's like some really eerie elements to it because it has like the lost girl, and that was basically a girl who they say haunts this road. It's called Atticus Line, and it's just got like this really eerie ghost element to it. So I'm loving it, first off. So I have about 100 pages left, and our main female character just went to the road at dark by herself because apparently she is every other silly girl in a thriller movie. It's like, of course, like she has a death wish, why are we doing this? I don't want to get annoyed with the characters at this point, but also what a silly decision. So that's that. I'll let you all know when I finish this, but I'm flying through this audiobook. I think I picked it up the beginning of this week, late last week, and I feel like I'm almost done with it, and even still I kind of just want to sit down and pick it up myself. But those are all the reading updates, so let's go ahead and start this lab assignment and get down to it. Hey there everyone, it is Saturday afternoon now, and I wanted to come on and give a brief reading update. One, I know I didn't update at all yesterday, but when I tell you all that I got off of work, we went for a run, and I folded laundry, and we made dinner, and we went to bed, that is exactly what happened, and it was the most uneventful Friday night. And I did listen to my audiobook while I was doing laundry, but when I tried to sit down to read, I mean, within 15 minutes, I was just knocked out. So that was that. So first, let's talk about A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Catherall. So at this point, I am only 65% of the way into the book, and I am glad now that I'm a little bit further in because I feel like my view has changed slightly. I find this book really delightful. Like, I think that it is... It's actually so hard to describe because I am enjoying my time with it. I just feel like it's a book that you can't fly through. Like, it's a book that you need to just read over the course of a couple of weeks because it's all letters. So nothing, like I've said earlier, is really progressing that quickly, but it doesn't mean it's not a good time. I would definitely say that it is a cozy. You get really endeared to the characters, like you end up really loving their point of view, and I'm definitely more so intrigued now about what's going on and trying to follow their, I guess, overall timeline to the disappearance or death. I'm still unsure, and I think these characters are as well, of what has happened to E and Henry. But the writing is really delightful. Like, it is just so, it's like overly polite. And when they show emotion, they seem kind of bashful about it, even through their letters. But it is really enjoyable. I think it's just not what I needed right now, because like at the beginning of the month, when I feel like I need to be reading a lot of books, because I set my TBR and I want to make sure that I get to all of them, I just don't need a book to take me an entire week to read. I need it to take like a solid 3 to 4 days. But this one I think is a really good book to read while you're simultaneously reading something else, like in a physical format, because I always read something physically and then I have an audiobook going. But I mean, like, if you do that, you might want to have your audiobook, your fast-paced read, and then a letter to the luminous deep, so that you can read like one chapter a night or something, so that you can keep moving forward in it, but also just enjoy your time with it and not feel like you have to like really fly through it. So yeah, it is very vibey though, because we are spending a lot of time with E in the deep house, which is the house underwater, and getting to hear from her sister about her exploration of the ridge and the point of interest, which we're not really sure what that is, but it is like the fathomless deep, like it's just an abyss that they're trying to explore and map out. So it's all very interesting. I wish that I could do a better job of conveying that it is a delightful read, but it's not necessarily a gripping read. Like, I enjoy picking it up, but I don't feel like I have to pick it up. Does that make sense? Hopefully, because we're moving on. Something that is very gripping is Murder Road by Simone St. James, which is my current audiobook. I actually only have about an hour left, and we are getting to some really good parts. The ghost aspects are so eerie, and we are learning so much about our other characters and what they have to lose from the situation, and it's just so interesting. I don't know. I'm really enjoying Simone St. James' writing, and I kind of want to go through her backlist, but also this audiobook, I really enjoy that. So if you're looking for a new audiobook, this is a really good one to pick up. But we have about an hour left, and it's kind of anticlimactic right now because the couple, it just seems like it's fizzling out, but there's still an hour left. So I feel like something has to happen, right? So I guess we'll see, and I'll report back. But now I'm actually gonna get ready for a wedding. You can see my hair's already done, but I do not ever want to get into my clothes before it is time, because I just don't. And it's very windy and I have to wear a dress, so. But I will check in with you all tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday morning now, and I am just so determined today to finish A Letter to the Luminous Deep. I refuse to take this book into next week. So what we are going to do, there is about 3 hours left of this book, and I am so determined to finish it. So I think that what I'm gonna do, because also this is not a particularly thrilling book, so if you read it for too long, you are just going to fall asleep, quite frankly. So I think I'm going to break it up into hour-long increments and just go through the rest of the day reading it for about an hour at a time. So I'm about to start reading now, and I'll read it for about an hour, then we'll do lunch, read another hour, and then probably do some grad school work and try to get ahead on that for the week, because we have plans for the next 2 weekends, so I want to get a decent amount ahead and at least this week coming up, so that I don't have to stress about it while I have plans the following weekends. So just alternating between reading and grad school work, because what a thrilling Sunday. I think it'd be more thrilling if I was really enjoying my book, but unfortunately that just, I'm enjoying it, but I also really want to be done with it. And I'm already so excited to pick out my next read, because it has to be something fun. Like, it just has to be something that is good and quick and just going to keep my attention. But I mean, basically anything besides this book I think is going to fulfill that need right now. And that's very dramatic, but it also just happens to be true. So let's get to reading, and I will update you all as we go. it is Sunday evening now, and I am happy to report that I have finished both of my current reads. First and foremost, let me tell you all about the books that I feel like I struggled with the most in this video, and that was A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvia Catherall. So, I got to the end of this book and I had many thoughts. The first and foremost being that this is not a bingeable book. This is not something that is going to keep you intrigued, like really just wanting to power through and be like, oh my gosh, I have to know what's going to happen next. Like, you don't have to know what's going to happen next because it won't come for a very long time. So that's that. Basically, anytime I had to walk and read every time that I was reading this book, because otherwise I was falling asleep. Like, it could not keep my attention, and like that doesn't mean that it wasn't good. I just wasn't really gripped by it. But it just, I mean, it was just a vibey book and the vibes were good. It's very fun to see an underwater setting. I don't get that often, and I definitely don't get a book of letters often. It's very impressive how she was able to convey emotion and different relationships just through letters alone. But overall, if you're not here for the vibe, you probably don't want to pick this one up because it is just something. I think what I would recommend is reading one chapter a night. Like, you should have another book that you're reading that you're enjoying and really having a good time with, and then that can be like your right before bed book and just get through a couple of letters and just read it very casually because it is in no rush. There is a plot, but it takes a very long time for it to kick in. And then we got to the end of the book, and guess what? The big plot parts are going to be in book 2. So I just got to the end and I was like, what is happening? Like, what is happening right now? We got more of the fantastical elements at the end, but still it felt like the plot was just about to pick up, and then it was just over. So I was just like, okay, yeah, it was a solid 3-star read for me, and that might seem a little bit dicey. Like, Brooke, you've been talking some bad stuff about this book, but I just don't feel that way. I feel like if I would have taken it at a more leisurely pace, I think that I would have enjoyed it more, and I think that it's really well done. It's just not a bingeable book, and that's okay, and it has its own time and place. It just wasn't the time and place for me. But I also finished my audiobook for Murder Road by Simone St. James, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Contrary to A Letter to the Luminous Deep, this one really kept my attention. I found myself wanting to keep listening to my audiobook, and I don't know if this ever happens to you all when you are listening to audiobooks, but I will sometimes be doing a task and I'll have to like stop doing my task so I can pay attention to the audiobook because I was just so intrigued about what would happen next. I also loved the audiobook narrator. She did a really fantastic job with the different voices and also the more eerie elements. You could really tell how freaked out the characters were. And I even liked the conclusion. I feel like it all wrapped up very well. I had a good time with it, so this is another win for Simone St. James for me. I would definitely recommend it. And I feel so bad for only talking about this for like a minute when I talked about A Letter to the Luminous Deep for much longer, but I feel like that one just needed more explanation. This one is just a good book. Like, you should pick it up if you want some type of like ghostly, very eerie road in like a small town that's kind of convoluted. It's very intriguing and some really morally gray kind of characters. I thought that they were so much fun. So those are my 2 current reads for the week. I am very happy to have knocked them both out. I'm actually about to pick up a palate cleanser tonight and just read something just very casual, not requiring a lot of brain power because my brain is kind of just because on top of the reading, which felt even more strenuous, not the audiobook, just A Letter to the Luminous Deep, I got ahead on my grad school work, so that was really good. I felt good about that, but now I'm ready to just unwind with a book that is hopefully just going to make me happy and not bore me to sleep. And that's it. So I will see you all tomorrow to close out this vlog, and then we will start a new one. Hey there everyone, it is now Monday and it is time to close off this vlog so we can start another one. Okay, so the primary book of this vlog was A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvia Catherall, and I ended up giving this one 3 stars. We talked about my closing thoughts yesterday, but overall it was a fine book. It was a unique read, but it wasn't the most captivating of reads. So as long as you kind of level set your expectations going into it, I think that you're going to be fine, but just don't try to fly through this one because you just shouldn't. This book isn't a rush to get to the point, and you shouldn't be either. Next, I finished the audiobook for Murder Road by Simone St. James, and I gave this 4 stars. I have been loving Simone St. James so much. She is such a good thriller author, mainly because I love her paranormal elements. Like, I love the ghost, just like the kind of eerie vibes. Like, I think that ghosts are so freaky. I personally would rather fear ghosts and kind of that otherworldly element than fear actual people. That is just fearing other people is way too close to home, so I'd rather misplace that and put it into ghosts. So I love that element, and it's so eerie, and it just made everything so much fun. It was very fast paced, and I love the mystery around this as well. So it was a great book, and I'm very excited to dive more into this author's backlog. And just a little bit of a sneak peek of what you all can expect in the next vlog. We'll be kicking off with That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. I got about 38 pages into this book last night, which is chapter 5, and I am loving it. Like, it's just so much fun. It's that brainless, kind of just very fun read. It's getting to the point. It's only 200 pages, so it literally has to. And it's exactly what I needed after basically falling asleep through my entire current read last week. So I am pumped about this, and will definitely be sharing more thoughts on my next vlog, so stay tuned for that. And that is all for this vlog. I hope you all had a good week, and I hope you had a good reading week, hopefully better than mine. But I will see you all in the next one. In the meantime, let me know what you all ended up reading this week, and if you have read Murder Road yet by Simone St. James. Bye everyone.